Good morning, Maria.
Good morning, Lourdes. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. Thank you. Welcome back to Coaching Conversations. And we're two coaches who believe that mindset shifts don't have to be complicated. They just need to be honest, grounded, and doable.
Yeah. And so if you're feeling scattered, pulled in 10 directions, or like you're second guessing everything you think or feel, this episode is for you.
So let's start talking about how to stop drifting and how to start acting and thinking from a place of clarity, alignment, and grounded truth.
Yeah. So let's start with the reality that most of us face when life gets noisy, when emotions run high, when we're overwhelmed, we stray, not because we're weak, but because we're human. We overthink, we go offline, and we do what feels easy, not what's right. We chase clarity by doing more, but that more often just adds more confusion.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the overwhelm. So what we want to offer you today is when you feel overwhelmed, you don't need a total overhaul. And I think that that's one of the reasons that people do feel overwhelmed, that they think that they need a lot more than what's actually necessary to get them back into clarity and center. And it's a simple return to what's right and what's clear. So if your mind is spinning and your to-do list feels like quicksand or something, this isn't about doing everything. It's about choosing the next right thing and letting that be enough for now.
Yeah, and something, that I've mentioned numerous times is this. So I get grounded in mindfulness, right?
Mhm.
And it's something that I share widely to anyone that'll listen, right? It's about pausing. It's about taking a deep breath. I love to share, as I've mentioned before, box breathing or square breathing, or just, pausing for a moment to take a couple of breaths to just put everything on hold. Just pause for a minute
Mhm.
or two to get yourself back online so that you can think more clearly. One of the biggest mindset shifts I had to learn is that doing what's right in the moment is often more powerful than chasing what's ideal. And it was through my mindfulness journey that I was able to see that, because we waste so much energy chasing perfection when clarity is really available the whole time. We just need to slow down enough to hear it.
Right. And I just want to say this to anyone listening. The world will always give you reasons to doubt yourself. But when you slow down and ask, what's next? What's the next right thing? You start to build self trust. And that's the goal. Not being certain about everything, just being sure about that one thing at a time and acting from that place consistently.
Yeah, and this is a skill that I think really we need to cultivate it in our own lives. This ability to trust ourselves, to not farm out decisions, to get quiet and to listen to our own inner wisdom, right? In order to make decisions.
Mhm.
But it takes practice. And if you don't really spend any time in self-reflection, then maybe you don't know what that feels like. But
Mhm.
you can start today to just carve out a minute or two to dwell in that silence, in a state of self-reflection, of quiet, and listen, start to listen and cultivate that inner wisdom so that you do know that you can trust yourself because you're listening to the deepest part of you. But let's make it real. If someone listening right now, uh, they feel maybe completely untethered, here's something that they can start doing today. It's a starting point. Ask yourself, what's clear to me right now? Not what's urgent, not what's popular, what's clear. Even if it's just one thing, start there.
Right. And then, the continuation, ask, what would feel right to do next? Not perfect, not, impressive, not for anyone else, just what feels right. And sometimes that just is rest. Sometimes it's creating a boundary and some space for yourself to recover and regroup. And sometimes it's just, showing up, being available. And then, I'm a big fan of journaling. And this isn't exactly journaling, but this is more like, a to do list. It helps to get you out of that scattered and overwhelmed. So just take 30 seconds and write down, this is what is clear to me, or just write down the thing that you want to do. And this is, for you to do, mine to do. And that writing, it just removes a lot of the emotional static that's been building up when you feel scattered and overwhelmed. And that's why you want to do that. You want to, you know, 30 seconds, write down what's the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And if you only know what one of the next things is, then just write that one thing. What's next?
Yeah, yeah. And learn to trust yourself and then revisit that clarity. Maybe create a practice of pausing and getting quiet and tuning into what's true for you. And revisiting that clarity daily, it's not because it changes every day, but because you do. And that self awareness keeps you from drifting back into reaction mode.
Right.
So, one of the biggest transformations that happens when someone really starts to live this way is they stop feeling lost. And that's huge. So instead of flailing, they start moving with quiet conviction. They're still human, but now they're more grounded.
Yeah, no, I love that because I think of one of the things that surprises people the most in this is the process. Is it's in this process, it's the clarity. It's usually already there. And it's not about finding it, it's about remembering it and going back to it. And it feels so empowering. And at the end of the day, that's what we're really all, seeking. That's what we're looking for, is that groundedness, because so many of us, um, you know, uh, childhood sometimes is rough, right? And so we have these small t trauma and these big T traumas, and because of that, most of the time we unknowingly are in a state of survival. And what we want to do when we go into clarity, we're no longer in that survival mode. And it centers you, and you feel that peace, you feel grounded, you feel centered.
Yeah. And, with a practice, this is something that you can return to on your own easily. Um, once you've cultivated a practice, right? In the beginning, it might not be so easy, but this is what we want. We want to feel calm and capable and aligned. And it's not about being perfect, it's just about having more clarity and more inner trust. And it's that sense that we're moving forward without betraying ourselves. And that's what this conversation gives us: permission to slow down, to have an honest assessment, and to take aligned action, even if it's small.
Yeah. So This basically is your invitation. What's one thing you're clear on today, right? Write that down. And then ask yourself, what's the next right thing I can do with that clarity? And that's it. That's the practice. You don't need to map out your entire life. You just need to stop abandoning what you already know to be true.
Yes. So if you've been feeling scattered, this is your point of return. Truth, alignment, one grounded step at a time. We hope this helped bring you back to center. You have what you need. Now go do the next right thing. Thanks for spending time with us. We're rooting for you always.
Thank you so much.